All right, so now that you've got a good idea on how to make basic parts like our first part, we're going to learn how to use something very useful in this program called the measurement tool. And by learning that, we're able to make a part from what we see over here on the left, which is a drawing with diagrams and with measurements on it. Okay, so let's do that. So I'm over here in Inventor on my right, and I'm going to click on part. So I'm going to do a new part. And the way I'm going to approach this drawing here is I'm going to pretend I'm just going to focus on kind of this H looking part in the front. And then once I have that done, I'm going to extrude it either backwards or forwards. It doesn't really matter. But the point is, I want to do it on a plane that is similar to where this H is. Okay, so if I go over here to start 2D sketch, I think the obvious choice is not going to be the bottom or this side. I think it's going to be the XY plane because that's facing the same direction as that H. So if I go ahead and click on XY plane, I'm ready to start drawing. Now, just to make things easier, I'm going to focus on the overall width and height of this shape. So the width is going to be 4. As you can see, our extension lines and dimension lines point to the ends. And then the height is going to be 2. So 4 inches by 2 inches. So I'm going to start with a rectangle just to make things easy. And just to show you the measurement tool, I'm just going to click anywhere here. My dimensions, if you look right now, are nowhere near 2 by 4, but I'm going to just click and make a rectangle. And here is the dimension tool. It's actually really easy to use. So if you click up here on general dimension, okay, I'm going to start with my width of 4 inches. So the width is going to be between this side and this side. So what you need to do is click on this side, then click on this side, and then simply move your mouse up and then click on the number, and up comes a dimension screen. So I'm going to just type in 4 and hit the check mark. Now you'll notice it looks like it disappeared. It didn't. What it did is it made it so big it just kind of left the screen. So I'm going to go over here to my zoom all button, which I'm sure you're starting to get used to using a lot. And there you go. You can see your figure is back. I'm actually going to zoom out a little bit just so I can see more. Okay, so we've got our 4-inch dimension. Notice I'm still on the dimension tool. If you ever want to get off the dimension tool, you just hit escape on your keyboard and you'll see the dimension tool is no longer lit up. But I want to still be on it. I'm going to click on dimension, and this time I'm going to do the side. So between here and here, and it's close to 2 inches already, but I'm going to click on it and change it to 2. Check mark. Okay, so now I've got my basic outline of the outside of this whole figure. So later on, we're going to be using the trim tool, and in order to use the trim tool on this, we need to have no dimensions showing because it won't let you trim a part that's dimensioned. We'll explain that later, but for now, what we need to do is get out of the dimension tool. So to do that, we're going to hit escape, and you can see it's no longer lit up. And now we need to get rid of those 2 dimensions. So click on one and simply hit backspace or delete on your keyboard and do it again for the other one. You'll notice that the size of the shape didn't change. All I did was get rid of my dimensions. So now if I wanted to, I could change the size of this to whatever I want. But I'm going to leave it how it is. And I'm going to just kind of make the outline, the general outline, using rectangles here. So I'm going to just get it as close as I can, and then I'm going to use my dimension tool to get it perfect. So start with a rectangle. I'm going to start up in this corner, and I'm just simply going to get it close. So right about here looks good, and I'm still on the rectangle tool. Notice how I'm starting from the green dot. If ever you make a mistake, just go ahead and undo. You'll notice that as I drag this down, it does little snap lines right there to make it the same. It doesn't really matter because I'm going to be dimensioning this anyway, but I'm going ahead and I'm continuing with my rectangle tool and just making a general outline, not worrying about exact measurements just yet. Okay. So once you get to this point, you can go ahead and hit escape on your keyboard so you're no longer in the rectangle tool. And now we need to get rid of these extra lines, okay? So to do that, this is why we got rid of the dimensions on the overall figure earlier. We want to be able to use the trim tool, okay? So click on the trim tool, and I'm going to simply kind of click on my mouse and drag over the thing I want to get rid of. And you can see it just deletes it. You'll notice sometimes it leaves extras down here. Just go ahead and go get them. Okay, so I'm simply clicking and dragging across the parts that I don't want. And when I'm done, it should look something like this. Now, again, this isn't perfect yet, but it's starting to look close. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click escape because I'm done with the trim tool. Okay, you can see it's no longer lit up. So now I want to use the dimension tool to make this perfect in size. Okay, so this is going to take some time, but you'll see it's actually pretty easy. So go ahead and click on dimension. You can start anywhere, but I'm going to start with what I know. So I know the distance between here and here is 1.5. So if I click here and here, I can click down again, and you can see I can change it to 1.5. It was already close, but this will make it exact. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Click, click, click one more time. 1.5, enter, right? And the distance in between here, if this is 1.5 and this is 1.5, that must mean this is 1, okay? Because the total is 4 minus 1.5 minus 1.5 leaves us with 1. So I'm going to dimension between here, and I'm going to type in 1, okay? And so let's start working on the sides. So this height here is 0.5. So from here to here should be 0.5. Do the same thing over here, which already was 0.5, so that's good. Okay. Let's see, what else do we have? We know that if this is 0.5 down here, then this in here must also be 0.5. So I'm going to click here and here and drag all the way out here. You can put the dimension wherever you want. I'm going to put it down here, and I type in 0.5, enter. Okay, we're getting closer here. Let's take this dimension here and here. This is also going to be 0.5. And same on this side, 0.5, enter. And that looks actually perfect. The interesting thing about this program is it does not allow you to do any extra dimensions than what you already have. They call that over dimensioning. You're allowed to put the dimension on there, but you can't force it to be a certain size. For example, I know that from here to here is 4. Now, if I click on this, it's going to tell me you can't dimension that because you've already done it at the bottom, 1.5, then 1, then 1.5. But what it's going to do is give me this message saying I'm about to over constrain it. I can't do that. But it does say if you accept, it will show the dimension, which it does. And you'll notice that the dimension there is in parentheses. So if you click on it, it doesn't even let you change it. And that's because that dimension is driven by these down here. So in order to change that dimension there, you have to change these down here. It's actually kind of a good feature because you're able to put full dimensions without getting the computer too confused by telling it over measurements. So right now we have everything we want. I know it's accurate and it looks exactly like this over here. So we're going to click finish sketch. Okay. And it zoomed way in. So I'm going to click zoom all. Okay. And let's extrude this. So it doesn't matter if I extrude backwards or forward. Just to keep things simple, we'll extrude backwards. It wants to extrude forward, but I'm going to choose the other direction. Okay. And mine's already set to 1 inch. It shows on the diagram over here that it is 1 inch. If yours is something different, you'll have to change that. Click OK, and there you go. We've got this general figure. Okay. So one thing I need to do is I need to put holes in it. Okay. And we know how to do that from previous work. We can just kind of click on a side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Start 2D Sketch, and I'm going to put one on this side. Okay. So let me zoom in here a little bit. Okay. This says they want the hole, the center of the hole, a half of an inch down and a half of an inch in. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just click on my circle tool. I'm going to get it somewhere close. And then I'm going to draw my circle. So you notice that the 0.272 or whatever yours is highlighted. All you have to do is type in 0.5 and hit enter. Okay, so now I've got the right size hole, but it's not in the right position. That's where I'm going to use my dimension tool again. Okay, so click on that. You're going to click on the center of the circle and the top of the figure, and then move your mouse over and click 0.5 because it says it right on the diagram, and you'll see it moves the circle down. Now it's close to being centered, but I know it's not perfect. So I'm going to do that dimension next. So again, click on the center and then this line, and I'm going to type in 0.5. It was really close. You can barely see it move over, but it did move over a little bit. Okay, so now I know it's in the right position. Okay. Hit finish sketch. Again, if you mess any of this up, just hit the undo and go back in the video a little bit. All right, now, instead of making one on this side, I'm going to use this hole and extrude it through both like uprights here. Okay, so go to the extrude tool, and I'm going to change directions because right now it wants to extrude outward. I'm going to choose inward, and it doesn't quite go far enough to get through the other piece. So I'm going to click this button right here that says through all. When you click that, it's going to basically extrude it through anything in its path. Click OK, and just like that, we've got our first set of holes. Okay, so let's do these over here. They're done similarly, but I can't extrude it through both of them. I have to do each one separately. So oops, hit the Start 2D Sketch button, choose here. I'm going to make a circle. And here's a little trick. If you want it right in the center, all you have to do is go along this line. I'm just hovering until you see that green dot. Once you get there, you can kind of lift it up and get it close. But right now, I already know that's centered. So now I can just type in 0.5, enter. And the only thing I need to do is move this up a little bit because it shows right here it's 0.5. So hit our dimension tool, click on the center, this line here, slide over and click 0.5, enter. Okay, finish sketch and extrude that downward, and okay. Okay, one more to do. Start 2D sketch. Let's put it over here. Circle tool. Again, hover until you see the center right there. It's green, and then once it's green, slide straight down. You know you're still there because it shows that dashed line. And somewhere around the center, click here. Start to pull out your circle and put 0.5, enter. And then again, we need to make sure we do our dimension top to bottom. So hit the dimension tool, click on the center point, the top line here, and click 0.5, enter. Barely moved, but because it was so close, but now we know it's perfect. Hit finish sketch, and I'm going to extrude that not upward, but downward, and okay. And there we go. We've got our shape. So the only thing left to do here is we need to change the color. So let's do that. To do this, I'm going to click on this tool up here. Let me get out of that so you can see what I did. So I'm going to click on this tool right here called Adjust. When you click on it, Don't click on any colors yet. The first thing you want to do is click on where you want the colors here. So we don't want to do face by face by face. We want to do the whole thing. You'll notice that if I click on one of the vertices, it entirely lights up. That's what we want. So click there, and you can see that it's all lit up. Now I just need to choose my color and get it close. So this is a little too bright, getting better. That's good enough for me. It's not perfect, but looks close. So I'm going to click on this check mark, and you can see it's changed my color. Now I can just go to my isometric view, and you can see I've made the exact replica of what we see over here. Okay. So it's not hard to do. You just have to take your time, use the dimension tool, make it perfect, use the rules that the program has, and you can basically make anything from a diagram. So the last thing we need to do here is save our work. Because I haven't saved it previously, all I really have to do is click on the save button up here, or I can go to File, Save, and it's going to ask me where. In your case, you're going to click this down arrow. Again, find your name on the list here. Mine's not showing because I'm on a different type of computer, but I am going to put it on my desktop, which is here. You should click your name, choose desktop, and then save it there. But before you do so, give it a name. So we'll call this, I don't know, we'll call it challenge shape. So challenge shape. And we know it's on the desktop because it says it there, and save. And right there, you can see it kind of changed to challenge shape. You can't see it because the screen's too small. Notice that my browser over here, I've all these extra parts that I put into it. Again, this will grow as you build each part. And that's it. We've got a perfect replica of our challenge over here, and hope things went well for you. Again, if it didn't, go to the undo button, go backward. You can also make changes by clicking on these. But hopefully this helped you.